AITA for telling a coworker to mind her F business. Hello, I'm new to this site, and I'd want you to know that English is not my first language. So I'll share some background information so that folks can attempt to understand why I had this outburst in the first place. I am a first-generation immigrant with no relatives still living in the United States. In 2009, my beloved uncle was deported to a third-world country. My mother was deported in 2011, and I lost both of my grandparents in 2012, virtually on the same day and almost in the same place. Since I relocated to a distant state, I have lost touch with some of my extended family, and I just have my partner to rely on. I work at a grocery store, and for the most part, I stay to myself. However, in recent months, I've developed a strong friendship with one of the shop greeters, let's call her Susie. As a 72-year-old lady, I can state that she is a hard worker who also happens to be a kind person. During my lunch breaks, she began to converse with me. Myself and everyone else at work are well acquainted with her due to her proclivity for exchanging information, which I believe is due to her loneliness. Okay, I'll just go right into the difficulties that occurred. Susie is a widower who, owing to reproductive concerns, has never been able to have children, but she does own 2 feline companions. Willie and Bill are the names of the cats, and she refers to them as her sons, kids. As a cat owner, I have 2 cats which I refer to as my girls. Susie and I became fast friends as a result of this, and we often speak about our cats. I'd even sometimes go over to her house to assist clean out and wash her litter boxes, which she does every 2-3 weeks. Anyway, we have a colleague, let's call her Karen, who is the boss's personal assistant and believes she has the authority to order us about. It's a little frustrating, to be honest. So Karen overheard us discussing how Susie is bringing her boys to the vet, and that I was thinking about whether or not I should accompany her or my business partner. Karen burst into the room with a resounding "I had no idea you people held playdates for kids." Since she is aware that Susie does not have children, my hunch is that she was being inquisitive. Susie, being the kind that she is, said, "Oh, yes, we do. We have playdates with our 4-legged children." Karen's expression shifted, and she seemed to be enraged. "Animals aren't children," she replied, which was really nasty and made Susie and me feel uncomfortable. Susie attempted to diffuse the tension by saying something along the lines of "to each their own," but Karen remained firm, scolding us and telling us how horrible it was for us to equate children to animals. Susie eventually gave up. It was a long story about how she had a relative who had lost a baby and how she couldn't fathom hearing someone like us refer to animals as children. Susie looked like she was about to weep, and I was getting frustrated when Karen remarked, "But I suppose I shouldn't expect someone who can't have their own children to understand." To say I was startled, she said, is an understatement. When Susie seemed to be in despair, I yelled, "Karen, why don't you mind your own F***ing business?" Karen shouted and puffed about how she was going to tell the manager what I had said to her, but I didn't believe her a word. Ultimately, Susie sought and received time off for the next day following that incident. Also, I understand that I will face disciplinary action as a result of what I did. But what about AITA? Story 2. AITA for dancing half-naked in my living room, leading to my BF and his family seeing me. My partner, Nate, 26-year-old male, told me, 21-year-old female, that I would be alone in the house for the weekend. He said that he wanted to speak with his parents regarding a property issue that had arisen. I was ecstatic to have the home to myself since I had been living with Nate since I was 19 and had missed the independence that came with living alone. But Nate is the llama and in no way a pain to live with. I have a pattern of spending a lot of my weekends baking while wearing my underwear. I'm not sure why that makes me feel attractive, but it does. The fact that I'm dancing while listening to music is dumb, yet it makes me stupid happy. It's embarrassing to admit, but I also engage in foolish behavior, such as pretended to be a Victoria's Secret model or a singer while singing along incessantly. I mention this since it often suggests that the house is in disarray. My dresses are strewn on the floor, and the music is just too loud. It had been a long time since I'd done anything like that since Nate despises loud music and my cupcakes. As a result, I made the choice to complete it over the weekend. I put on One Direction's "What a Feeling" on a Sunday, and it's really loud, and I'm just wearing underwear. The Victoria's Secret kind, which is very lacy AF, and which I despise now that I think about it. Ugh. My boyfriend used his key to open the door, and I didn't hear him come in since, as I previously said, the house is loud, and I'm also in the kitchen/living room area at the time of his entrance. He clearly planned to take me by surprise. His mother, father, and his sister's 2 children all came with him to the party, only like 10 think. The moment they step in the door, I'm frozen in an awkward dance stance. The moment Nate went into our room, I raced to our room and apologized, saying sorry wasn't expecting anybody. I was in the process of getting dressed when Nate strolled in. He was quite enraged. He accused me of acting in a childish manner and of making him feel embarrassed. He refused to stay, and his parents asked Nate to drop them off as soon as possible since he refused to stay. His mother insulted me and indicated that the children had seen everything, which made me feel bad afterward. Listed below are the reasons why I'm up at night worried about it. On the one hand, I was completely unaware that they were approaching. I also made sure the door was secured, so I don't believe I did anything unlawful. I meant to clean up my messes before Nate returned home from work. Nate and his mother were also really insulting to me. My actions, however, were seen as those of a child or a childlike person by them. The house was a complete wreck. I seemed to be a complete mess, and there were baking supplies strewn over the place. Basically, Nate simply wanted to spoil me and do something kind for me. Nate is still not completely communicating with me, and I'm not sure how to approach his family about it. I know his sister advised him to force me to behave or SMN, so I feel obligated to apologize before things become worse, but I'm not sure whether I'm in the wrong here, so I'm asking for your help in determining my mistake. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Update. After reading what everyone had to say, I realized that what Nate did was really wrong. A lot of amazing parents in the comments also helped me realize that even conservative moms, like Nate's, would not respond in such a disrespectful manner. When I realized what my life had become, it struck me like a wave. I didn't say anything to Nate about the post, but he must have guessed I was annoyed with him. I was questioning our connection and trying to distance myself from him. He began chatting to me again, and I didn't say anything for a day. But I realized I had to make some judgments. I honestly didn't expect to receive so many comments informing me I was NTA, so this was a real eye-opener for me. So a few days after I posted, I informed Nate that we needed to chat. I said that I would remain with my buddy until I felt at ease with him. He had no idea what I was talking about, which irritated me since how could he forget such a significant fight? And I told him I was disappointed with how he treated me after the entire Your Family Coming In On Me event. I also remarked that I shouldn't have to wait for him to leave to dance, bake, or listen to One Direction because he doesn't like it. He attempted to persuade me to remain, but I refused. I guess he knew I wouldn't let this go like the others, thanks to you guys. I invited him to meet me at a cafe yesterday so we could talk about everything that occurred. Nate sobbed. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was meeting him for the first time. He apologized, admitted he had made a mistake, and promised to reform because he had realized his error. I told him I was leaving and that if he changed his mind after a time, I'd give us another try. I just wanted some time to think things through, so I told him we should take a break from each other for a bit. Nate said he'd speak to his mother as well and that he should have defended me, to which I replied, "You should have." I actually stole straight lines to illustrate why he was incorrect from several of your comments since they were so helpful. It went far better than I had anticipated. Thank you as well. Thank you does not begin to express how grateful I am to everyone who assisted me, as well as the moderators who deleted several weird remarks. Thank you for also sharing your story of dancing in your underpants. It made me feel better to know that I wasn't a weirdo for appreciating such things. Because I'm going to utilize those baking techniques you provided me and create cupcakes right now. I'm so relieved.